Welcome to the final series of Ryan's Recap. I'm Ryan Chevalier, and I'm here to give you your big news stories and your big observations, your big topics going on right now. And to start off Ryan's Recap, I want to talk about how I have a guest named Arberi Ferraj. He's a sensation online. He's great on Vine. He has over 100,000 hits, and he's going to be my guest on the show for this live telecast of Ryan's Recap. We start off Ryan's Recap with breaking news. President Obama toured the flood-devastated Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The floods caused more than 13 deaths and affected over 106,000 residents and households. We are heartbroken by the loss of life, Obama said, after seeing the first-hand damage. In recent days, critics have blasted Obama for vacationing on Martha's Vineyard and being too slow to visit the state. It's estimated that $120 million in aid has already been approved, and it's being paid out to help the flood victims and their people who have been affected by this tragedy. And we have breaking news again. In a story I have covered throughout since April, there have been more schools, 7 more schools, found with lead in their water fountains. I reported the high levels of lead at Rafael Hernandez School in Roxbury and the Kenny School in Dorchester a few months ago, and there's 7 more schools that have been found to have an exceeding amount of lead in their water. The bubblers have been shut off, and the schools are expected to start the year receiving bottled water. But after the schools originally passed the tests back a few months ago, the second round of testing this summer found these fountains had too much lead. The Boston Public Schools is working closely with the Boston Public Health Commission and Boston Water Sewer Commission. And to take a look at this, I'll look at an interview I had with a water specialist regarding the issue of the water situation in Boston. Where do you see down the road both companies trying to develop getting their information out, processing it so the consumer knows?
Unfortunately, Ryan, I think what happens, is that it takes something like Flint, Michigan for people to realize, that how important their water is. I mean, I don't know about you, but I turn on a faucet and I expect water to come out. I'm trusting that that's safe drinking water. When I flick on a light switch, I expect the lights to work. It's a safe way, to be able to heat my home. It's a safe way so I can read a book at night. I can watch TV. We take these things for granted. But I think what we need to do is we need to take a look at our water. We need water in order to live. It's that important. So we need to make sure that the water that we're drinking is safe, potable drinking water. We need to take time out and take a look at what are we replacing it with. And take a real good look at that, and let's not make the same mistake that was made years ago, putting in lead by putting in copper today.
Dangers Bill Hastings, the water specialist, mentions where we, take things for granted, such as water sometimes, and there's a serious hazard when lead starts being found in our water. And another thing he mentioned in that second half of the interview is replacing the copper pipes with better pipes, the plastic pipes, to help fix the problem of these contaminations. So we'll just continue to follow that story, and I know many families out there are following that story very closely. The Massachusetts state economy has been stated the best in the nation, according to Governor Magazine. A few of the factors that were included is the current state unemployment rate, the improvement in the state unemployment rate over the past year, and the percentage growth in year-to-date increases for jobs in 2016. The study also includes governor's approval ratings, and it was conducted by the Morning Council. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker has a 72% approval rating, according to the report. And, quote, Jeffrey Baker from the magazine says that Baker has been in office less than 2 years and has seen a positive result for the state economy and moving forward. The Senator Scott Brown, he's been in a sexual harassment lawsuit. Former Vox News host Andrea Tantoros has accused the former senator of sexual harassment in a lawsuit against her former network. In one instance of sexual harassment, Brown is accused of making a number of sexually inappropriate comments and also snuck up behind Tantoros while on set, while she was purchasing a lunch, and put his hands on her lower waist, in which she told Brown to stop. Brown denies the allegations, saying, "In the 3 years I have been working here, I treat all the people the same, whether they're male or female." The Massachusetts Turnpike is opening new toll systems and is expected to open up on October 28th. The increasing costs you may pay are proposed under a new system, and over 24 plazas along the 138-mile highway from Boston to New York will be torn down and replaced by 16 arches that go over the highway. It will be for many Easy Pass people and people who use it, requiring them not to slow down or stop. But overall, drivers without the transponder will pay $13.40 and will be taking I-90 from New York to Logan Airport, and that's nearly double the current $7.10 amount that you pay. And Donald Trump, he also made comments on the immigration problem, the immigration issue, where he said, "We'll be fair but firm. An estimated 11 million immigrants living in the United States illegally, they need to be kind of dealt with care in a way." He was saying that he's insisting he's not flip-flopping on the issue, but in a meeting with Hispanics, he allowed those who have not committed crimes beyond immigration offenses to obtain some form of legal status. The father of a toddler who was killed by an alligator at Walt Disney last June, he reached into the animal's mouth just before the incident happened to try to save his son. The final report was made Monday by the Florida Wildlife Agency, saying the 7-foot alligator bit the 2-year-old Lane Greaves' head as the boy bent down and he was trying to see the water from the edge of the lagoon. The report says Lane did nothing to provoke the alligator. And in final news, the USA basketball team captured gold with a 96-66 win. Kevin Durant scored 30 points. DeMarcus Cousins had 13 points and 15 rebounds. And Carmelo Anthony became the first basketball Olympian to win 3 gold medals. So for now, that's your news on Ryan's Recap. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. Hello there. I'm Ryan Chevalier, the host and reporter of BNN-TV's Ryan's Recap, news and sports show. Check out just what you can see on Ryan's Recap. In Boston, schools have been found to have high levels of lead. One of the schools that was found to have an exceeding amount of lead in its water fountains was here at Harvard University is trying to end gender. Welcome back to Ryan's Recap. And for the final series of Ryan's Recap, I want to highlight my work at BNN. So I want to take a look at the memories and very fond ones that I've created over the past months working here and doing my reports for Ryan's Recap. So let's take a look. schools that was found to have an exceeding amount of lead in its water fountains was here at Rafael Hernandez School. Harvard says undergrads who join unrecognized single-gendered organizations will not receive dean recommendations for scholarships. Here at Fenway Park, the Red Sox have extended their protective netting in order to protect fans, with a Tampa Bay Rays fan recently getting hit through a gap in their netting. Are they doing everything it takes to keep fans safe? Reporting outside Fenway Park, where many Brockton Rox players one day want to play for the Boston Red Sox. This is Ryan Chevalier for your Ryan's Rocks Report. It's Ryan Chevalier reporting and hoping not to get wet from these sprinklers. The Brockton Rox have begun their 2016 season, but they've come out a little bit slow. Even with the weather being rainy lately, the Rox 2016 team is looking bright. We start Ryan's recap with breaking news. This breaking news is coming out of Boston, where they have found many schools have had lead found in the water fountains at Boston public schools. Boston had never told them to turn the water fountains back on, and several students may have also drank from those fountains. It actually saddens me that it's happening right in our hometown of Boston and the local area. Start off with breaking news. President Obama's immigration plan has been shut down by the Supreme Court. The gunman went to Pulse earlier that Saturday night before carrying out his attack against the gay club. We go into political news, where Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are facing off in what hopes to be a calm political debate. On to the House, where the gun control law has led to a sit-down. It's a $2.3 billion project, putting the MBTA over $1 billion over its budget. Charlie Baker, our governor, he made a statement recently regarding his son, and his son had a concussion that he didn't reveal for a while, and he was once on opiates to try to help fix the concussion. But I'm going to take the weather aspect out of this, because I've lived in Boston for 4 years. I'll tell you what the weather is. It's snow every day. He said assault weapon bans do not work. So you have two contrasting sides here, and this is something that you can focus on when you go to make your vote. With Harvard University, they're taking their students and they don't want them to be setting up any groups that are only male or female oriented. We have breaking news. An Egypt airplane traveling from Paris to Cairo, it has crashed into the sea. There were 66 people on board. I have Bill Hastings, a water systems owner and specialist, who's going to talk to us about how we're going to replace the lead pipes in Boston and with copper, but there might be a hazard with this copper. I'm going to explain later, so stay tuned. Cleveland Cavaliers will face off against the Golden State Warriors in the finals this year. Not Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, but instead the bench outscored the Cavs 45-10 in that game. How did you get such a passion in this field?
I'm an immigrant from El Salvador. I left my country during the Civil War 27 years ago, and it was for political reasons.
What scares you the most about the increase of opiates in the New England area?
What scares me the most is kids between the ages of 18 to 30 are the #1 group of people that are taking these drugs.
Are you for or against the death penalty?
Well, that's a tough question. See, the thing is, there's some people who do such despicable crimes.
Is it really to the extent happening that it was back then, this police brutality?
If you don't remember history, it will repeat itself.
These Boston public schools, their water fountains have been found to have lead in them. What were your first thoughts when you saw the reports?
Lead piping system is a service pipe that comes from the city mains which is attached by a corporation to the city mains. From there, it goes to a curb stop.
For this, we're going to take a look at a package I made on the issue. Harvard University is trying to end gender discrimination in student organizations by discarding all male societies, fraternities, sororities, and other groups that only accept men or women. Harvard says undergrads who join unrecognized single-gendered organizations will not receive dean recommendations for scholarships and will not be able to hold high leadership positions on campus. This is in an effort to alter Harvard students from joining groups excluding men or women, but Harvard will not prohibit students from the organizations. Harvard officials said they had to act to uphold the principle of non-discrimination. Another fan has been recently injured at a Major League Baseball game. This time, a 75-year-old woman is at the hospital after being struck in the face by a foul ball during the Washington Nationals and Cleveland Indians game. The woman had been taken off on a stretcher and suffered only minor cuts on her face. Although incidents like these have hit home, where last year a woman was hit in the head with a broken baseball bat at Fenway Park, and after some time in rehab recovered. Or a few months ago, when a 63-year-old woman was hit in the eye by a foul ball at a Tampa Bay Rays game, suffering fractures in her face. Here at Fenway Park, the Red Sox have extended their protective netting in order to protect fans, with a Tampa Bay Rays fan recently getting hit through a gap in their netting. Are they doing everything it takes to keep fans safe? Even with the MLB mandate and the Red Sox extending their netting from dugout to dugout, it is yet to be seen if a stronger measure should be taken. Several water fountains in Boston schools have been found to have high levels of lead in their water, after Boston tested the water from fountains at 38 schools. One of the schools that was found to have an exceeding amount of lead in its water fountains was here at Rafael Hernandez School, grades K through 8. Overall, it makes people wonder, is the water in Boston really safe? In fact, Rafael Hernandez School had levels more than 2 times the state standard. At Thomas J. Kenney School in Dorchester, 4 water fountains tested positive for contamination. Monday, June 13th at 6 p.m. at Rafael Hernandez School, you can join the meeting discussing recent water test results. We start off with breaking news. Well, a lot of memories, a lot of stories that I've given throughout my series, and it just feels really good to show all my work out there. And I want to also present, actually before I was on BNN as a host, I interned at WCVB Channel 5, and I also did a lot of work. I'm a broadcast journalism major at Suffolk University, so I really am passionate. I enjoyed the journalism field. So I'm going to show you a few more of my highlights and things that I've done throughout my career. So let's take a look at my work. Will continue their playoff run as they face the Orlando Magic tomorrow night, trying to get that last playoff spot. Ryan Chevalier, WCVB, Boston. I'm sitting at the Channel 5 news desk, where it takes years of hard work and dedication here. Deflategate still lingers. Jeremy Hayes and I have more on the ongoing scandal. I'm where Senator Kennedy left an impression on the town of Southbridge 55 years ago. Although in a twist, it was the town of Southbridge that left an impression on Senator Kennedy. Are all parts of what helps WCVB put on a good show every day. Even I'm part of that. In 4 months, the U.S. Olympic Committee will decide if Boston has its own opening ceremony in 2024. With songs about sex, abortion, and child abuse, the cast hopes the risque show took the spotlight off of them and on to some important issues. They don't have a batter right now who's batted .290 in their career. I feel like Kansas City with like Lorenzo Cain or Mike Moustakas, they have a few power hitters still in that lineup. The pitch to Kemp. Swing and drive! Dan Kemp delivers! Walk on! I agree. Parents today, they should definitely vaccinate their kids in this day and age with science and health. Ladies and gentlemen, rhythm. 12 footballs have actually had under 12.5 psi. Did our culture, media, and journalists overreact?
I do think that there was a lot of overreaction to it.
What does it take to be a great photographer?
As they say in the business, you got to have a good eye, a sense of composition.
Nobody had any thoughts or any ideas of them going all the way, and for them to be able to go down to the finish line of the Boston Marathon. It's just unbelievable.
As we say, biology is always one step ahead, and we have to be prepared.
On September 30th, 1958, John F. Kennedy made a campaign speech in the town of Southbridge on the corner of Main and Central Street for re-election as senator. Southbridge's town historian Dick Whitney explains the history behind a photo taken of Kennedy that day.
There's one picture of him speaking, and you see a Billis Diner sign in the background. And also one building on the right is gone. It burned in a fire in 1971, but the building behind him is still there. Richard Rossioli was standing just a few feet back in the crowd during Kennedy's speech. He explains the overwhelming impact that Senator Kennedy's visit had on Southbridge.
For the town of Southbridge, it was something because he was already a big name, and I think I told someone earlier that the whole family was like God.
I'm where Senator Kennedy left an impression on the town of Southbridge 55 years ago. Although in a twist, it was the town of Southbridge that left an impression on Senator Kennedy. Kennedy remembered visiting the American Optical Factory in Southbridge and purchased bifocal glasses from American Optical. It is this order that still gives historian Dick Whitney the chills.
The order says he would like to order 3 pair. And it's stamped, written, we received this letter the day he was shot.
Ryan Chevalier, Suffolk U News. The Celtics are only 1.5 games out for the 8th seed in the playoffs. Boston has won 4 out of their last 5 games, and the Old Testament in the book of Isaiah Thomas takes over the game, has a New Testament.
Be able to beat certain teams and grind out certain games like versus Memphis and stuff, that's a big testament to everything. So, whether we are fortunate enough to make the playoffs or not, I think the way we're learning the toughness and how we have to really battle, brawl out games are definitely key.
Boston has to be the scrappier team with Isaiah Thomas's lower back injury keeping him out over the next few games. Thomas has averaged 24 points and 6 assists over the last 4 games he's played in, although there will be no standing ovations with the back pain he has.
It's been bad. I mean, it's been hurting when I stand up, sit down, so it's like nothing's comfortable. I've been very uncomfortable the last few days, but I'm just trying to get this swelling out as fast as possible, and then once I can tolerate the pain, I'll be all right.
Even with the team's recent success without Thomas, Coach Brad Stevens is staying on an even keel.
We have a lot of room to improve on both ends of the ball. We made some mistakes yesterday on the defensive end that could have really hurt us. And, I thought we tried to thread the needle way too much on offense.
Stevens did commend his team's hard work for a chance to compete in the playoffs.
Even during the toughest of times, they've stayed true to the work that it takes to improve.
The Celtics will continue their playoff run as they face the Orlando Magic tomorrow night, trying to get that last playoff spot. Ryan Chevalier, WCVB, Boston. On a night of praying for Michael Brown and his family, the Boston Community and Police came together to discuss the decision on the Ferguson case. Mayor Marty Walsh invites people to let their feelings be heard, but also wants different ways to fix Boston.
About grieving and to grieve together, but also to talk about solutions and how we can find some real solutions here in the city of Boston.
Walsh believes what happened in Ferguson is an equality issue, not a law enforcement issue.
We all know the disparities due to race and income run very, very deep. We see them in health, we see them in education, we see them in housing, we see them in jobs. They're unjust.
Republican Charlie Baker explains how Boston is working on these inequalities.
40 or 50 leaders of this community who had worked with me to develop an urban agenda around education, around jobs, around housing, around public safety, around incarceration. I had a conversation with President Obama, and I said to him, Mr. President, I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the country, but I know what's going to happen in Boston. We are going to address the issue of black and brown boys and making sure not just black and brown boys, but also all of the young people in our city of Boston have opportunities they don't have.
The mayor urges the public to come to a My Brother's Keeper Summit on December 6th. Ryan Chevalier, Suffolk U News. And there's a little bit more work of what I've done overall in my career, and I want to just finish up lastly with the production side of things, because I found that when you're on TV, you have to know both sides. You need to know behind the camera and in front of the camera, and that's a big part of this industry. So let's take a look at my production reel. Sorry for that technical difficulty. Seemed like it was buffering. But overall, we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to have a Vine sensation online. Check it out.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go long, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey, she's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Ryan's Recap live show today. You can call in during the discussion because today I have Arberi Ferraj on the show, and he's a Vine sensation online. He gets over 100,000 hits on some of his videos and probably has over 1 million on his channel. So that's quite the work you've been doing. And overall, I want to just start the interview with, how did you start up with getting into the Vine industry?
So that's probably the most frequently asked question. I was bored in between transitioning from school and time off, going back to school. I was looking for work, so it took me about a month or two or so to finally find work. But during that time, as I was searching for jobs, I was kind of just messing around on the app because my friends showed me. They're like, oh, this is a cool app. You can just make videos. And I saw him making funny videos. I was like, hey, I want to do this. Because I kind of did it when I was younger. I was around 10 or 11, I was just messing around on my cell phone or like on Movie Maker or something, just putting together just wacky videos, and kind of Vine was like another way for me to do that, I guess. So I was like, let me just hashtag videos and just keep doing it. And you know, the stupider they got, the more people got entertained. So I kind of figured I might as well just keep doing it, and the channel just very slowly started to grow and people started to recognize. So it was, it's kind of a different, you know, wacky sort of thing, but I don't know, from my perspective, everything's been the same throughout the whole venture, but yeah, I guess it started from boredom.
Well, you mentioned it maybe started from boredom, but was it always an idea to just be kind of funny and out there and do something?
Yeah, I guess so. I always had that background kind of. I always wanted to be different and just sort of get myself out there, just, I don't know, stand out. But, you know, when it comes down to it, I know when to take things seriously and I know when to put effort into things. And this was something that I kind of took seriously while it didn't look like I did. But, yeah, I always had that, like, wacky background kind of that helped me lead up to that. So.
Yes, and you work with a guy named Marlon Webb, and you guys create a lot of your videos together. So how did it start that you met Marlon Webb and started doing these videos?
So there was a meetup a few years ago, probably 2.5, almost 3 years ago, where another, like a bigger Viner, Jerry Perpdrank, he had kind of a get-together meetup for other local Viners and fans to come by. And it was pretty big. I think it was in Framingham, Mass. We played laser tag and all, and got to meet some of our fans for the first time. And it was just the weirdest thing, because like people that see you online and then they see you in person, they just don't know what to say or react somehow. But I don't know. It was a kind of cool little get together that we had, and Marlon was there also. But at the time, you know, no one really had known either of us. But we had a few people who had recognized, but ever since then we kind of collaborated, just between me and him, because we would see if other people were down to film with us, and there was only like a couple that would, maybe once or twice, but we were the ones that would always want to get out there and do something like every week. And if you see our work, it's not easy to film, I guess. Like, we put forth a lot of effort into these 6-second movies. Like, we basically made them into 6-second movies. And so we kind of just stuck through the whole thing, and he blew up with his Watermelon trend, and that, like, I don't know, kind of helped shoot us up as a group. So we've had a good thing going as a team. So. Yeah, and let's see some of these videos. I found them very hilarious, and I think people at home will too. So the first one, because you won't be able to see the comments on the Vines, it's called When Work Sends You Home Early. And this has Marlon Webb, your friend, in this video. Let's take a look. So that was an extended version. It originated from like a Vine, but I started posting on my Instagram and whatnot, and Vine has been slowing down a little bit, so we figured we'd expand, and we made that into an extended. But that all just, I don't even know how the idea started. That was just kind of on the go thing. I had this one image of the song, I guess. And I just thought, like, well, what would look funny? And it's usually I try and go with this like 0 to 100 like pace, change of pace that usually just gets people up on their feet, you know, kind of just, I don't know. So people thought it was catchy too, and it all just kind of fell together well. I think we all feel that way when we get out of work. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. You take I guess a relatable topic, and you just kind of exaggerate it as much as you can, and that's how we go about filming a lot of our videos, I guess. All right. So we'll take a look at another video. This one has over 5,200 likes and comments. It's one of your more popular videos. It's called You Think Nothing Can Stop You. Let's take a look.
The damn ball! All right, Jesus. Are you always... Nothing can
stop me, I'm all the way up.
Well, it reminds me of when I was on the basketball court.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's quite a great video. I love how it all comes together at the end. It's really got actually a storyline.
Yeah, pretty much. That one's just got a few change of paces, I guess. So we just kind of collaborated a bunch of, what I like to do is when I film with a lot of my friends, I notice what their tendencies are, so I like to put them in those roles. And that one kid that was yelling, he's known for yelling, so I had him yell, you know, check the ball. And so once he said that, that's when it all goes. This was kind of inspired off of my previous ideas I had. I made a couple of other videos that actually did pretty well where I jump off of my friend's back to dunk. A couple of them I've done successfully, and this one I figured, well, what if I just kind of turn it around? So again, it's somewhat of another relatable, you know, trend, but it's never been seen that way before. And that was actually something I used to do with my friends back home. We used to, because we couldn't dunk, so he used to get on all fours, and I would see if I could dunk from the free throw line, and I would get pretty close, but it was really fun to do, so I figured why not just throw it in a video.
Yeah, I think we all know the stereotypes that come with a basketball court.
Yeah, I can't jump too high, but you know.
Where do you get the ideas for like certain environments, certain people? You mentioned your friends kind of yells.
Yeah, I guess depending on what they can do, depending on who I'm filming with, what their tendencies are, depending on what kind of roles they can play, is how I like to kind of put it all together. So essentially, when we're filming these, whoever's idea it is, well then they're the director, so they get to, you know, put people into whatever place, tell them what to do, so somewhat of an actor-director, I guess. But the ideas mainly just come from, I don't know, hearing a song and thinking what would look funny with it, or just thinking of a concept that would look ridiculous, and just exaggerate things as much as you can, you know. Make spoofs out of things, whatever you could do to make it just ridiculous, I guess.
Yeah, and this has been pretty fun so far. Let's keep going with the videos. The next one is when you're tired of people making fun of you for not being talented.
Oh, watch it, watch it, watch it. What the f are you doing?
Another funny one, definitely the music also adds to your videos, I noticed.
Yeah, so it's kind of another similar concept, I guess, but you know, it goes from no music to it just blaring, and so it just kind of gets people, you know, just freaks them out a little bit, but also they like what they see in a way. I don't know, you just got to mix it all together, mix and match, and that was just based off of a water bottle trend that had been going for a long time. And I'm hoping I was one of the few to help stop it, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a long story. I also liked to stop trends, I guess. Make fun of it, whatever, just, you know, kind of torture the other person almost if they're going along with the trend, and just, I don't know. That was another, one of the few trendy ones I've made, but it ended up doing very well. I think it's got almost like 150,000 likes now on Vine or something. So,
yeah, and a lot of Boston people can relate to
yeah.
when you get in the road and the person's blaring their
I
horn.
know.
So we'll take a look at your next video. It's called The One Guy Who Never Gets Mad, and you're actually in this video with Tyrone, and Tyrone is a major Vine sensation too. How did you end up meeting Tyrone?
Yeah, well, I guess Tyrone, I hadn't known personally, but Tyrone had started on Vine, and he didn't get very far, because before he got far at all on it, he transitioned over onto Instagram, and that's actually where he blew up. So I had found him through Instagram, just, I don't know, just, you know, looking through videos, and he just, because he went viral last year, year before, and he's still going out pretty strong, and he was out in LA, and we just, I guess we ran into him, and when we were out there, we had a friend who knew him, so we kind of linked together and filmed with him on that day a bunch. It's like 8 to 10 hours of filming. And it could actually be tiring when you're standing all day and, you know, listening to people and paying attention and doing different things, especially if you're featured and everything. But Tyrone was featured in a lot, so he was there. He's a very vulgar guy, but I tried to keep that down a notch in my videos, so even though I'm getting slightly abused, but.
Well, we'll take a look at this video. Once again, it's called That One Guy Who Never Gets Mad.
Up, over, loop the loop.
Sorry about the little technical difficulties. Basically how it ends is he keeps laughing, and I think people can play out in their imagination what's about to come next.
Yeah, in the extended, the full version, I think I put on my Instagram, because I try and keep my Facebook PG rated, but on the Instagram version, he yells at me, and he approaches me because I'm laughing, because he can't tie his shoes, you know, I just think, you know, so yet again, you think of a funny concept. It's a big grown man who can't tie his shoes. So he approaches me, stabs me, slaps me, stabs me. I stop laughing. I keep laughing, and it keeps going. It builds up. He ends up shooting me, and I fall, and he looking to take my money, and I just laugh again, and it just ends. So again, it's just another situation where you kind of just take and you like just really exaggerate it.
Right.
But that one, people like that one also. So.
And just to review, where can people just see your videos? Should it be on your Facebook or? Yeah, so my Facebook is where I prefer now. It's probably where I'll be posting most. You can go onto my Facebook. It is at Arberi Vine, ARBERIVINE, or you can just search my name. Just it's kind of a wacky one, but it's ARBERI. Last name is Ferraj, Ferraj. So. I know about that name struggle.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of. I know your first name's easy. Your last name's a little different, but.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we have the next video. We do, and the next video we're gonna show. It's called "One Ways Always Get Ya."
You go that way?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a one-way.
What's that?
It means you can only go one direction.
So you threw in some One Direction in there.
Yeah, so that one kind of blared it. That was also a slight little trend that was going on where people were just like playing music and just blaring it and just ruining the bass and whatnot, just kind of that distorting sound. And yeah, it was just, I guess, another thing that you just didn't see coming. I got him right when he said One Direction, it just exploded us out of the car. So yeah, it's just another one where we were in the road actually for this one. What we do on the road actually take us a lot longer than we expect, because there are one-ways, there are cars who try and get by, there are people walking, there's always people pulling over, recording us, and just wondering what the heck we're doing like on the side of the road, because nobody's familiar with that in this area really. They just, I don't know, they never really expect people to do the things we do, I guess. But yeah, that one was it was a quick one. It didn't take us too long, but that one was all over. It's all over Instagram, Twitter. That one blew up. Tumblr. That one blew up everywhere. So, not on Facebook, fortunately, but it was a fun one to do.
Yeah, it looks it for sure.
Yeah.
This one I actually thought was pretty funny overall. The title is called "Totally Not an Obvious Pullover."
What's the Ostrifer problem?
I just saw you drink 47 beers on the side of the road.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did!
Pretty hilarious right there, yeah. And overall, I want to just now kind of get into a little discussion. So now, has your popularity really rose since making these videos? And
yeah, it actually has. There came a point, you know, I was thinking about quitting almost because it was just a lot to do with school. You know, I was in as an engineer major. Thankfully enough, I'm done with that. I graduated on Sunday, so. But it seemed to be like too much to do, too much to think of, too much effort. So I was coming down to a point where I was slowing down and I wasn't posting as much, and I was almost losing hope because I always needed someone else to film this, you know, craziness with. And that's when we really started going hard with Marlon and the bearded guy, Chauncey. He's a character also. I love that guy. But yeah, so it seemed like it stopped kinda, and then it picked back up once because those guys had the same mentality of me. They had the same drive. They wanted to do the same thing as I did. So it picked back up once I hopped right back in it with them, and they were just every weekend we were filming from then on, and that's when it started to rise slowly, probably over the course of that year, which was last year. And this year it's now picked up a lot to a point where the three of us get recognized pretty much every week, every few days, you know, here and there, wherever we are. But we notice that tend to happen in LA a lot more. And, you know, we get offers and whatnot for promotions and stuff, so that can help us maintain our hobby, what once was a hobby, into a job. So we can make that, trying to make that transition now.
Mm-hmm. And actually, what was kind of funny was when you were on a show, one of our production crew members actually recognized you.
Yeah.
She said, I knew you from
Yeah, a
somewhere.
lot of times they won't recognize us until like after something's got a spark in their head, or they got to look at us for a while. And we get these weird looks sometimes, and we're just like, oh, just whatever. They probably know us, you know, from online or something. There was a Savers thrift store we went to once, and the kid that actually worked there, he's like, do I know you from somewhere? And I was like, I don't know, maybe the internet. He's like, yeah, it's definitely Vine and Facebook. I was like, yep. And then shortly after, we filmed something right outside of that and got the whole store, all the employees and whatnot to watch us. And it felt weird, but they let us do it surprisingly enough because we were dressed up in a bunch of crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue this conversation right after the break. So we'll just take a short one.
Superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
We're back here, and it's just been so cool looking at the collage and what you put together. Now, overall, you've taken your videos now and you kind of made this big video you showed me of all your Vine videos. What was that like, just going through all your memories and putting
Yeah,
together?
so I actually didn't make all those. That was just some YouTube channels that have a big following that wanted to put my work out there. So, you know, I guess how they do that is, well, have people been searching that in their search bar and whatnot. So basically any way a channel can drive traffic, they'll use. So I guess they saw me as a way to drive traffic. But I have gone through a bunch of my own videos, and that was hectic. I actually tried to start my own a little compilation so I can put on Facebook. But I might just end up downloading one of the ones online or something. I don't know. It's hard to pick my best ones, I guess, especially since it's hard for myself to know what my best work is, I guess. I don't actually ever know until I see the numbers, I suppose, because to me it's all the same. Like it's, you know, it's really hard to judge, and I guess that's one thing I really need to start focusing on is a better judgment of what better work could be. So yeah, essentially this all is going to end up being somewhat of a business, especially if we get, you know, it's been like a self-business kind of, it's kind of your own business, but especially once you get into the acting industry, which hopefully we get into one day, then it'll be a more bigger business and bigger scale. So
yeah. Now you mentioned mainly whoever has the idea is the director. Who comes up with a lot of your ideas for these? Is it you or?
Yeah, it's just me. It's just me. And then it could be, you know, a collaboration of others who I film with. You know, they'll pinch their 10 cents in and kind of help build on it. Marlon will help me build on mine. If Marlon needs help with an idea, I'll help him build on his, even though he's usually a lot more like reserved. He doesn't leave his own mind. The way he does his work is he'll think on his own, he'll brainstorm on his own, and he'll piece every scene out and have it all played out in his head and put it all together exactly how he planned it, and will rarely change anything. But the way I do it is I kind of just leave it open. I strive for the same thing, but if I hear someone, you know, suggest something better, I'll throw it in there. But overall, it's mainly your own work. If it's your video, it's your idea, your work, you're the director. So.
I just want to play off a little story of partially how we met. I hope your video, has that video been out yet? I don't want to
Yeah, it was
anything.
out. I still have it. I actually ended up deleting that because the ending didn't get to punch as hard as I wanted. I was going to add in a little, you know, mixed voice to make it sound like the self-checkout was talking. And so essentially the whole idea was, you know, self-checkouts are difficult. I'm self-checking out, and it's something goes on where it yells at me, it beeps, and then it's, you know, kind of like torturing me and choking me with the bag. And that's where you came over and saw me getting choked out by the bag. But yeah, that day was actually pretty funny because we left and Marlon was like, "Wait, you didn't give him your number?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Well, this guy could be playing us." This guy. I was like, so we were both kind of sketched out at first. I was like, "Ah, Marlon, you're fine. Why would he do that?"
I knew to trust the guy with a bag on his head.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just going to take another quick PSA break. We'll be back. Back to Ryan's Recap, live show today, and we're about to wrap up, but overall, is there any contact information just trying to help you become more popular out there?
Yeah, I guess just the Facebook page, you know, if you guys could go onto my page on at Arberi Vine, ARBERIVINE. Go ahead and like my page and you'll see all my new work I put out. You can also browse through all the old stuff I put. I'm also going to repost a bunch of old things that aren't on that page. So,
great. And we're wrapping up now, so thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
It's been
Thank
great.
you.
Your videos are very funny. I love them. And this is the last show of the series for Ryan's Recap. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.